I used to think the smell of new leather was the scent of accomplishment. We'd finally moved into the kind of home people slowed down to stare at. I thought it was the finish line. But now, every time I catch that scent, it punches a hole in my chest. Marissa and I had been married for 6 years. I met her when I was still rebuilding, new job, new goals, trying to erase the wreckage of my 20s. She was confident in the way that made you question everything you thought you knew about yourself. When we bought the house, she wanted to decorate it like something out of a catalog. I just wanted her to be happy. I let her handle it. That's how we met Brian. He was the manager at a local high-end furniture store. Tall, charming, with the kind of voice that belonged in a whiskey commercial. Marissa said he had a designer's eye, and that he got her style. I remember brushing it off the first time I noticed her texting someone late at night. Probably Brian sending paint samples or something, I thought. It started with the little things. She started dressing nicer just to run errands. Her laughter changed. It sounded rehearsed. And her phone? That thing became an extension of her body. Then came the day I'll never forget. I left work early on a Friday. Marissa didn't know I was coming home early. As I pulled into the driveway, I noticed a sleek black SUV parked slightly down the street. Didn't recognize it, but it was probably nothing. Until I walked in and saw her purse on the hall table, along with a man's leather jacket I'd never seen before. The air smelled different. Not perfume. Musk. I walked slowly down the hall toward the living room. I don't remember how I stayed so quiet, but I heard her voice before anything else. "You're not like him," she said. "He doesn't notice things like you do." Brian's voice was lower, more deliberate. "That's because he's not really looking at you, Marissa. I see you." I froze. I didn't need to see the rest. But I did. Through the half-open door, I saw them. Her hair was tousled, his hand still on her thigh. The room we decorated together, with the couch I paid for, became the stage of their little betrayal. I backed away. Quietly. Like a coward. I sat in my car for an hour, heart racing, unsure whether I was going to drive off a bridge or into that black SUV. But I did nothing. That night, she came home late. Said she'd gone to get quotes for a new coffee table. Kissed me like she hadn't just torn my insides out a few hours earlier. I didn't say a word. Not then. But I started watching. I tracked the receipts. Noticed how often she ran into Brian around town. How many deliveries suddenly needed her personal oversight. And eventually, I found the email. The one she thought she deleted. It was short. It was enough. "Miss your hands on me. See you Tuesday. Same time." I stared at that sentence like it was a confession written in blood. But I still didn't confront her. I wanted to understand. To feel what she felt. To hold the weight of the wreckage before deciding what to do with it. So I followed her the next Tuesday. And what I saw made everything worse. I parked 2 blocks away from the address I'd scribbled on the back of a business card. A loft-style showroom on the 2nd floor of the furniture store, visible only if you knew what to look for. She hadn't seen me follow her. She never did. I watched from the shadows across the street. She knocked. Brian opened the side door, his arm already curling around her waist before the door even shut. She leaned into him like it was habit. Like that touch belonged to him. I sat there long enough for disgust to numb into cold clarity. Then I drove. Not home. Not to the bar. I drove to a lawyer. The days that followed, I became a ghost in my own life. I moved through the routines with practiced ease. Coffee in the morning, meaningless conversation, fake smiles over dinner. But I was building something. A case. A clean exit. I gathered receipts, tracked phone records, even posed as a client to the store's receptionist just to get camera footage from the delivery dock. By the time I confronted her, I didn't want an apology. I wanted the truth spoken out loud. "You lied to me," I said calmly, holding the printed email. She went pale. Let me explain. I saw you with him. I watched you walk into his place like you'd done it 100 times. The silence was worse than yelling. She stared at me, and for a moment, I saw the weight of her choices crashing in her eyes. Then, just like that, it vanished. "It just happened, okay? It didn't mean anything." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was pathetic. "Didn't mean anything? You made appointments for him on our shared calendar. You used our home, our marriage, as a cover story." She folded her arms, trying to regain control. "You were never around, Owen. You buried yourself in work. You stopped noticing me." And there it was. The excuse dressed up as explanation. "You mean I trusted you enough to build something for us, while you rehearsed your betrayal with throw pillows and custom ottomans?" She had no comeback for that. Just tears that came too late to matter. I served her the divorce papers the next day. Clean, sharp, legal. She cried then too, but I didn't stay to watch. Months passed. I moved into a smaller apartment, filled it with nothing but necessities. Silence echoed through it at first, but over time, the space became mine. I started running again, picked up a camera, traveled solo to places we used to say we'd visit. Someday. One day, I walked by the store. Brian's store. It was shuttered. Empty windows, for lease signs, a smear of graffiti across the door. I didn't feel victorious. Just finished. I heard from a mutual friend that Marissa moved back in with her sister. That Brian had left for another city. That she was taking time to find herself. Good for her. As for me, I don't believe betrayal makes you stronger. It breaks something that never fully heals. But it teaches you who you were, and who you'll never be again. I'm not bitter. Just done.